Jenny, I wonder if this RV surge has led to the surge in crude oil as a bad transition here. But good morning to you, and thanks for joining us.
No kidding, Alex, because there's definitely a surge in the RV market, one that completely surprised me. I mean, they're up 300% from their March lows. They're up about 34% year to date. So the Winnebago market is right now booming, and I really didn't know much about it. So researching this morning was super interesting. People are talking about RVs as if they're kind of the lifestyle fix for something that the virus has kind of taken away. So of course, a self-contained home on wheels is kind of the fix for going to a hotel or getting on an airplane without the fear of getting sick. So it's kind of right now the temporary fix for travel. And Winnebago's stock strength also coincided with the company's release of their second quarter results back in March. So they reported their motor home division sales increased about 100% year over year. They also reported this increase was reflected by the full contribution of Newmar, which is a luxury RV maker they recently purchased. Their year over year sales increased 14%, which excluding Newmar's contribution, but all around really strong second quarter results. Now, what's more interesting about their second quarter report was that management guided going forward, they were optimistic due to several things that we're seeing today. So lower interest rates, lower gas prices, the stay-at-home orders easing, and now we're seeing so many state and national parks opening, which is a really good thing for Winnebago. So it seems like everything management kind of guided has come true, which is of course going to be good for their third quarter results. Now, when you go to Twitter, you can see that, I mean, the noise is shockingly bullish. I couldn't believe how many people are tweeting about Winnebago right now. So yesterday I tweeted a poll asking if you were to travel for just strictly leisure, what would your preferred mode of transportation be? Now, of course, the majority of people said cars and airlines, but 19% of people said RVs. So I was shocked with just the bullish sentiment around RVs. And you can see from our first tweet that's kind of reflected there. So our first tweet is from 713 Stock, who says, a lot of people want to travel but are scared of traveling by plane. The RV sector will be something to take note of for traveling families. This could be huge for Winnebago or any RV company for safer travel. And sticking with this kind of bullish sentiment around the RV sector, our next tweet is from Options Hawk, who says, Thor Industries on the RV market. Today, market indicators in North America are increasingly positive. Every North American dealer I've spoken to in the last few weeks has been very excited about the pace at which sales are picking up. Now, of course, Thor is a competitor of Winnebago, and they're up. They've seen the same kind of increase, 55% year to date, 33% month to date, and they had really strong second quarter results. So, Kevin, could this be any possible indication going into Winnebago's results?
You know, first thing, Jenny, people like me, we just call them Bagos, not Winnebago. Just refer to them as the Bago, because that's what the cool people do. And I'll make another blanket statement. Jenny Horn has never been in a Winnebago in her life, have you?
I have.
Never.
I have.
That's my bet. No, you haven't.
You know, Kevin, they're the best way to tailgate.
The key. Yeah, right. That's the only way you've been in one. Never overnight, though. But here's the thing. I have spent time in Winnebagos in my life on guys' trips and things like that. And I can tell you that having a kitchen right there keeps you away from crowded airports. Anyone worried about infection can absolutely stay away from that using these. They're self-contained. It's keeping your family together. It's all those positive things without flight and without hotel rooms. So listen, as someone who has used Winnebagos a lot in my life, I can tell you that they are, it's not surprising to me that they are unbelievably popular this summer as people are dying to get out of the house but don't want to fly in a plane and don't want to stay in a hotel just yet, everybody.
No, it definitely, it's going to be an interesting one. They got earnings tomorrow morning. So, hey, the stock price has been on a tear, and we'll see, how that plays out. But, hey, Jenny, we appreciate you joining us, and great information as always. As we say goodbye to Jenny, we're going to welcome in Landon Swan, the co-founder of LikeFolio.com, to continue the Winnebago conversation and RVs in general. Oh, Andy Swan, I'm sorry. Andy, I'm used to Landon always being on here, and I apologize. We got Andy Swan joining us, co-founder LikeFolio.com. Andy, when you're tracking this trend in RVs in general, This is such a large purchase in terms of the amount of capital outlaid. I'm interested to see, although this might be a short-term reaction to, the unique situation that we find ourselves in, how much does this play out in the long term? As if you own an RV now, aren't you more likely to use it in the future?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think, like you said, it's a huge investment. Even, if you look at this chart that we have of people talking about purchasing or thinking about purchasing or financing an RV, it's been pretty well up and to the right for the last several years. So this was a trend that was already in a good spot heading into, the recent events. A little bit of a lull in 2019 as things kind of stabilized at higher levels, but we've definitely resumed significant growth here in the last 90 days. In fact, we're seeing mentions of purchasing an RV up 27 to 30% year over year, which is really big for this type of large purchase. And so I think you're right. It's one of those things where, this was starting to get popular before, and now it's almost becoming, that tipping point where maybe you've been considering this for 4 or 5 years. Well, what better time than when airlines are canceling flights, hotels are putting on some strict restrictions. You don't know what's next in the area that you want to visit. So now's the time probably to go ahead and say, all right, we're going to go ahead and get that Winnebago. We're going to get that RV. We're going to make the summer of 2020 under our control. And I think that's the prevailing theme that we see. And I do think you're right, Alex. I think that, once you buy something like this, I think it will make a permanent change to your travel habits as a family or as an individual even, and how you seek out entertainment and vacations from that point on.
Andy, what I think makes the Winnebago market so unique is that just like hotels, just like anything with travel, you can fit the Winnebago in terms of price, in terms of size, to fit your lifestyle, to fit the size of your family, to fit the size of your pocketbook. You can pull them as trailers. Thor is also a really good company that makes Airstream. You can pull those with your car or truck. I mean, they're just very versatile. And, parks and things like that are starting to adapt now to the Winnebago. But my question is, do you see any difference in the price tags in terms of people mentioning them online? Are they talking about the ranges of the price on these Winnebagos? Because as you know, they can go from relatively small like campers to luxury buses that spread out and almost become like another house.
Yeah, we don't get too much into that. People are pretty reticent to talk about how much they paid on public platforms like we track. But I can tell you that you're right. That Winnebago covers a entire swath of the population's budget range. They do a really good job of that. I think it's very likely that they're seeing this in the in a little bit down market in terms of people that normally might take 1 or 2 vacations a year, maybe fly to one of them. They want to, like Jenny was saying, they want to be self-contained. They want to take their family where they want to go, and now's the time to do it. A lot of them can just, hitch it onto a pickup truck, like you're talking about. It doesn't have to be a $250,000 purchase, and so that's a lot of what we're seeing. And once again, I think that this is just another of those kind of conversations that we have where an existing trend gets massively accelerated by all of these shifts and all of these restrictions and fears of the virus. So this is another one where it gets accelerated. The question is, really what starts to happen in 2021, 2022, when everybody that's been thinking about buying an RV over the last 5 to 10 years bought one in a 6-month time frame. And what's left in terms of demand after that, I think, is going to be the biggest question as we move forward on a lot of these trends, but including definitely RVs.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. It kind of ties into the question I have for you. And it may just be, that there is no answer yet here, Andy. But you and your team at LikeFolio have a very interesting perspective when you're watching trends develop, and I'm sure you see patterns that kind of exist across how different trends play out over time. And does there seem to be, for lack of a better term, a viral component to trends in the sense that, you start seeing more and more RVs, you kind of get the bug to go get an RV yourself, or if your friends in your social circle starts going on RV trips, that gives you that extra kind of, inertia to go and make that RV purchase yourself? Or is this one that, might be just that pull forward demand and borrowing from the future, and really all of this, excitement around Winnebago and other companies could be short-lived?
I think it's both. I think that there will definitely be a large, social factor to this, and sort of that viral factor, which kind of interesting to talk about on something other than an app or a technology platform. But it's definitely there for RVs. You get home, you talk about your trip, and your friends hear about your trip, and then they go home and talk about, should we get one of those? It definitely happens, and I think that will be the battle going forward. Is this something that expands significantly the market of people who are interested in RVs or in that type of vacationing, or did it just pull forward demand into a tight time frame? And there's also some production concerns here. Winnebago shut down for a month or so in terms of production because of coronavirus, so that you can only sell really that which you can make. And so, I worry a little bit about companies like this when you see a massive run in the stock like this, where the demand has been pulled forward so much. Can they take advantage of that in terms of production? And then are they putting themselves in a position where the next year's comps are unattainable and they have, significant downtime in their facilities? And so I think this is tricky territory for these companies trying to figure out if the trends that we're seeing today can be sustained into the years ahead. So very interesting to watch, and we'll just keep an eye on, LikeFolio trends in terms of RV purchase intent data. Let's see where that goes.